I'm in Finland. I'm actually in Helsinki. I didn't get to go out to where Mari from SaimaaLife lives. She lives in the Punkaharju area. That's quite a ways, like 3 or 4 hour drive from Helsinki where I am. It would have been lovely because we absolutely fell in love with the area. We fell in love with the cabin that we stayed at last year. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it at the end and it'll be in the description. So after this, go watch that. I got the privilege of doing a Zoom interview with her. She is teaching people and taking them through the forest to forest bathe, to learn about nature and to help your body regulate, to help with mental health. And it's all done using nature and just being completely surrounded by nature and forests. Hope you enjoy our little discussion. But doesn't this view look beautiful? We're in Helka Hotel right now in Helsinki, and I just love the old buildings and the architecture and how they always manage to get some greenery and forest into the area. The courtyards usually always have something beautiful in them, and the rooftops. I just love it here. I hope you enjoy this interview I did with her a few weeks ago. I'm so happy to be talking to you right now, even though it's very early here in my time, and in Finland, you're 10 hours ahead. Why don't you introduce yourself to us? Because in Canada here, everybody is so interested in anything Finnish right now. And it's funny because even Finnish people are interested in themselves. They'd love to hear other Finnish people in different parts of the world. So I found it quite fascinating.
Okay,
So,
well, I'm happy to hear that, and thank you, Anneli, for asking me to do this. Yeah, so my name is Maria Ahonen, and I'm the entrepreneur of SaimaaLife, and I live in Finland, eastern part of Finland, and Saimaa Lake region. And
mhm.
Saimaa Lake region is the biggest lake area in Finland, and actually fourth largest freshwater area in the whole Europe. I'm sharing my time between Punkaharju and Kerimäki. I'm living in Punkaharju with my 2 daughters, and then in Kerimäki, my life partner Jon is working as an apple farmer, and now I'm there. And well-being from nature is the heart of SaimaaLife and what I do. So the slogan of SaimaaLife is "Find Your Nature." And in my life, I have, in a very versatile and deep way, found how, in so many different ways, nature and natural elements can support your health and happiness and life in general. And I've also found all the scientific studies and how really it has not only been my personal experience, but it is so true in general. So through my company and work, I want to help other people to find all the gifts of nature to their lives.
Because Saima is such a beautiful area, and I was there last year with my sisters. You took us on a road that's really famous, or I've seen it in a lot of online videos and different things. It's a long, narrow road that drives, I guess,
Yes,
through.
yes. So it's Punkaharju Ridge. Yeah, it is very famous. Actually, that road has been chosen as the road of the century in Finland. And Punkaharju has a long history that people have come, and also famous artists have come to Punkaharju because of its beautiful lake nature, to get inspiration to their art, and also health, physical
Mhm.
health and mental health. In that rich area, there is, for example, one hospital that was established there after the war. It was really decided to be there because it was already then known all the health benefits, that it's good for the patients also to be close to nature, because it is
Mhm.
studied that when you can experience, for example, after surgery, or if you're ill, if you can see nature and breathe the fresh air and clean air, so if patients don't need that much medicine, and it
Yeah.
also fastens their recovery.
In Western medicine, a lot more about how healing nature is and how important it is your surroundings to improving your health. So it's really evident that you love Saima area. The next question is, you do something really special there that me and my sisters experienced when we came. So I know that we call it forest bathing, but I know there's another name for that too. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into the actual study of it? And, because a lot of people go and walk in nature, but you took it to another level.
I come from the countryside, and from all the way from my childhood, I'm used to be in nature, do many things there, big berries and mushrooms and exercise and
yeah, because you grow up on a farm?
Yes, yeah. So I grew up on a farm, and also what comes to Finnish people's like health and happiness. So we because we have so much nature here, so it's in our blood very strongly that if we feel stressed, for example, we head to the forest or lake to feel better. In my life, I had learned to do that in many different ways. There came a time that I got depressed. So part of my life story is that I have experienced, on the other hand, I've gone through a very bad burnout and exhaustion, but also depression. To heal from them, I have gone through psychotherapy. But then when I was feeling so bad and lost in my life, I decided that I had just become a mother also. So I felt strongly that, of course, I want to heal for good myself. But then I also wanted to find and heal in a way that I can teach to my daughters also, so that they would not need to experience the same as I somehow started to feel very strongly inside of me that I should again head to the forest and nature. But then somehow my intuition said that I should not go there as I was used to go, like do cross-country skiing or jogging or
yes, because you're very active.
Yes, but I felt strongly that I should leave all the hurriness and haste and goals and things like that to home and just go by myself to the forest, just to be, just to do nothing. And I started to, little by little, to take this kind of in a way, I started to go to the forest with a new attitude in a way, and just wander there and breathe and just like looking and touching the nature and everything. Very soon I noticed that my symptoms of depression, like every time I went to the forest in that kind of a attitude and mindset, like after some time, like my mood started to get better and my body relaxed. I had this kind of a nerve pains and an anxiety. It felt so good, so I continued. And what also started to happen was that I started to get a new kind of connection to myself. And little by little, during these kind of forest moments, I also started to, in a way, become more aware of my past. Like I started to become aware, like why did I got depressed and like why things went so wrong. And then also I started to get these kind of feelings that, like answers that, okay, this I should do to feel better, and this way I should change my life and my mind and way of living so that I could heal and so that I could prevent not the same to happen again. So that element, a new kind of a relationship with forest came to my life. And afterwards, I can say that I had the psychologist, but forest became my other therapist. I have a researcher background. My personal experience was so empowering. And then little by little, I started to read studies. And then I realized that, wow, actually, what I had started to do naturally was forest bathing.
Yes.
And then I also found all these scientific studies about the therapeutical elements of forest, and then it became more and more obvious to me that this is something. I also realized that what I have started to do is something that is actually very valuable skill in a modern world that is so full. So I decided
Exactly.
I want to, in the future, also help other people to learn this tool and
Yeah.
way of being connected with nature.
So you went to Japan to study, didn't you?
Yes, so I've been happy to collaborate with Japanese already. This is the 8th year.
Yeah.
So we bring also Japanese travelers to Saimaa area. And yeah, forest bathing, the roots are in Japan. And actually it's Shinrin-yoku in
Yes.
Japanese. And Shinrin means forest and yoku means bathing. So
Yeah.
it's in direct translation. And because I had Japanese friends and collaboration partners, so I had a possibility to arrange that I was able to go and study to Japan and have certificate of the Shinrin-yoku nature trainer.
Yeah.
And I did that in Nagano, in Shinanomachi healing forest, and actually, I was the first foreign person who graduated.
My sister loves to walk in through the forest, as I do. It's like you're thinking about it, but you're not thinking about it. How you taught us to just stop every time, just stop and be in the forest versus just marching through. And even though you're enjoying it at that time, but when you take it all in, like you kind of directed us to do, it's way different. So I
Yes.
appreciate that because that was a lot of fun. Moving away from Finland as a kid and then coming to Canada, you always hear about how Finnish people love nature and love being outdoors. And I'm thinking back to when I came from Helsinki, so all I knew was the city in Finland. I do remember going to my papa's mökki on the lake. I have memories, but we sat on our dad or our mom's the back of the bike while they pedaled bike to the lake, and we're on the boat, on the rowboat on the lake. I remember going skiing and skating on lakes. So even though we lived in the city, we certainly had a lot of outdoor time, even in the city, compared to what we do here like in Canada. So I do agree, and I think that Finland has a real connection with nature, whether you're in the city or not, and you get as much of it as you can. I just had some questions that people asked me about, and I just wanted your view on it because when we were with you in the forest, we experienced this, that they have these beautiful areas that are put up in the different areas in the forest where people can just use these little cabins or huts
Yes.
and everything's there for you. And isn't it, there's also the law, every man's right.
Yeah, every man's right. And that is, it's so great that Finland and it's a thing about the Nordic countries. And yeah, so every man's right means that yeah, you are allowed to go to the forest and lakes for free. And you can even pick berries and mushrooms for yourself. Of course, you have to respect the houses and the forest owners. In Finland, like we have plenty of nature, and it's like easy to go, and you can go there because I know that in many countries, like there is very little forest left anymore. And also it can be even that there's an entrance fee or
there is. Yes.
Or they are very crowded. So I remember when we were also in Punkaharju, so I think maybe we saw 2 or 3 other people, but not so many.
And that's the beauty of it, because as long as you respect the area that you're in, you can use all these amenities that they put up for you. And I don't know, sometimes I wonder how things would stand up here in North America if people are as respectful, and I don't know why it's happened, but over there, I mean, everything looked great and people looked after things and left things as they were. You mentioned that you help out at an apple orchard. Tell us a little bit about the apple orchard, because that's interesting.
Yeah, you mean apple farming?
Yes.
Yeah, you can do apple farming in Finland, and yeah, we have a short summer, but it's so intense in a way that you can do gardening and in a very basically it's 3, maximum 4 months. We have a dark winter, but then we have so bright summertime. So the nature is able to grow in a short period of time the full crop of, for example, apples.
That's right, because you've got it's the land of the midnight sun. So even though it's short, it's very intense. You're right. So you have the dark winters and fall and spring, and then it just brightens right up. So I guess that's when everything just, blooms and grows. Recently, we were also talking about, because we have these memories, and I know I've seen you, I don't know, maybe it's on your website, picking mushrooms and picking berries that are outside, like in nature, in the forests around you, that because of Every Man's Right, you can go and forage a lot for all these things that are growing wild. Is that something that you partake in or do a lot on your own? Is like picking mushrooms and berries and things like that in the areas where you live in Punkaharju? And
so that's also very Finnish thing, and it's deeply in our culture and way of living to, for example, like big berries and mushrooms. Of course, the younger generation is not doing that so much as the older one. But for example, I and my life partner, we belong to the people who we want to make time for as natural living as possible. So
that's interesting.
I would like to grow more my own food and even more berries and apples. But of course, I need to balance as a mother and entrepreneur. I think it's much about your life values, and my life story is that in many different ways I have found that, and it has the scientific basis. We are a part of nature, even though how modern we are living. We biologically we need the connection with nature to feel balanced and stay healthy. And it is really studied that no matter how you experience nature and in what kind of an element or shape it takes, it has a positive effect to our mind and our physical body. I have wanted to shape my way of living more and more, so that in a natural way I have many different kinds of connections with the natural world. Even when I'm working, like for example, I have this mug. Coffee mug. So this is wood.
Nice. I love that.
I have wooden earrings. I said these are my stress toys. So when
that's very nice. I love that coffee mug, the coffee mug holder. That's great, because birch that's kind of everywhere. That's all over Finland, birch trees. That's all I remember from being a child. That's so true. And the reason I asked about the berries, because I recently bought some cloudberry jam here, and it was like tiny little jar, and it was like $19 Canadian. So it was a lot of money. That I can't convert it to euros right now, but it was a lot of money for this tiny little thing of cloudberry jam. So then of course I started looking into cloudberries, because I can't remember. And what are cloudberries in Finnish? Lakka, yes. So I was looking and researching that, about how rare, it's a lot of work if you want to pick some cloudberries.
Yes, I know.
So then I understood how come they're so expensive, because it's a lot of work, and they came from over there. And even we have some in North America on the East Coast in Newfoundland, and in very north up in Alaska, you can find some here, but they're very rare. So I was really interested in reading up on the different berries. When I was watching videos of people picking, it's like, you're really down in nature. You're in the boggy peat moss, and you're really getting in nature. And those are actually some of my most favorite memories that I have, and pictures that I have, is just being out picking, and whatever season it was, whatever berries they were that I was picking.
And actually I feel that one of the best in SaimaaLife I combine really the natural Finnish way of living and what is still very common here in Saimaa area. It is really the way of living that we integrate very naturally the nature in many ways to our everyday life. It's like supporting our our health and well-being like as such. But then I also combine this like Japanese tradition, and I've noticed that Japan and Finland, we have many similarities at the bottom. We both have quite like close and even deep nature relationship. After my depression and all these experience, I realized that, for example, we Finnish people love to sit by the fire. Like today, we were having my life partner's mother's birthday, and we took her to the campfire picnic.
Nice.
That was her wish. And really, like the simple thing that you go to nature and you make a campfire, and then you grill sausage or vegetables, and you're just sitting and seeing the fire and everything. Basically very simple, but it has so many health promoting elements. Like like you are breathing phytoncides from the trees, and you are listening nature sounds, which have a very positive effect to your nervous system and hormone production, and in so many ways. Or then berry picking. Like forest bathing is all about like nature, like seeking connection with nature. And there you take all your 5 senses to really to have the connection to nature. And you can imagine like berry picking, like you are in the forest, and and you are, if you're even like picking the berries or mushrooms with your hands, it's very meditative. And
yeah, because you're really close, you're crouching down, you're down in the earth, your hands are getting dirty and you're touching everything. So yeah, there's so many health benefits for sure from that. When you come out of that, you feel so relaxed and so good. And even on your Instagram, like you're really into nature, because you in the cold of winter, whenever you go swimming in the lake. So if anybody wants to see what it's really like, just hop onto her Instagram, because you post some beautiful pictures of nature all year round in Finland, and the things that you do in nature, whether it's shoveling snow or jumping into the freezing cold lake. You're a very good ambassador for Finland, plus the health benefits of being out in nature. So that's really appreciated by the people that follow you. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And I think that I've always said that if I should say like one word to describe the whole thing, it would be the word naturally. So I feel that really, well, we are biological creatures. Like we are made to move. We don't stay healthy if we don't use our body. If we just sit and be with our mobile, we definitely become sick at some point. We are not born to do that. And then nature is our original home, so we need some connection. We don't need to live in nature, but it supports our health that we have the physical, we have the connection to nature. And then we are also like, we are giving our hands, like we should use them. Like like it is studied that really your brain, the connection between your hand and brain is super important. That's why, like, for example, making crafts is very good. It does miracles to your health of your brain and also your well-being in general. Like there we concentrate in natural way, and we create things with our own hands that gives a senses of meaningfulness and purpose, that because we need this kind of experience that okay, I made this. For example, shoveling snow. It's a very like normal thing in Finland, but actually there's the natural surroundings that it's important, and then you are using your body, like you need the movement to feel healthy. And then also your brain can have rest when you are like exercising. Many elements. Forest and nature is important, but really, like, naturally the best.
And you make and one of the big points I think that is that you're not walking around with like AirPods or anything in your ears, so you're actually listening to the nature and letting your
Mm,
brain just rest and not, taking in a lot of stimulus except from what's around you. I think that's why your brain gets a rest and gets to do its thing, because you're physically exerting yourself, you're getting blood flow, you're
mm,
moving, and you're making all those connections, but you're also letting your brain be still so that it actually can do what it needs to do. And I think a lot of times we forget that because we're all running around with listening to podcasts, listening to this, and we're just too much stimulation that's coming in at us from everywhere.
exactly. And all that like over stimulus, it creates stress. It creates
Yes,
physical stress and it creates mental stress. And for some time ago, I read that nowadays we all get 10,000 more sense stimulus per day than 10 years ago.
I
And
believe that.
it's it's and you can imagine like how big like stress it is for our brain, and it's not, we are not built to stand that kind of a constant stress. And
Exactly.
now if you look at the global like health statistics, it's very alarming, like how, for example, the amount of different kinds of mental illnesses and problems are increasing, and reasons are many, but definitely, and our modern way of living includes many good elements, and mobile is not only a bad thing, but definitely it is, there are lots of very very bad elements in our like the direction where our way of living is going. I think really what we would need is we don't need to go back to the nature, that's not the point, but we should find the balance. We should find like the connection with that. We should stay connected, like what is to be human, like what your body and mind needs to stay healthy, and really to also have the connection to the natural world, and also to ourselves, because
Yeah.
also what happened to me, and what's very alarming in this world, that because we all the time from the media and society and everything, we are getting messages like how we should live, and like we should do more, and like to be fast.
It feels like sometimes you're out of breath just trying to keep going. Like it's like you don't get a moment, and that feeling of just like I need to, I can't catch. I feels like I'm literally running, but you're not. It's just all the stuff that you feel like you need to do, and your mind is racing, and you're taking in so much. I've definitely had those experiences, and if I'm actually thinking and able to make a logical plan, I disconnect and go for a walk, and just leave everything alone, and you feel so much better. But
Yes,
I could talk about health with you forever, but I think we'll
yes,
just wrap it up here. I encourage anybody that's interested to go on to Mari's Instagram page for sure. And I'll put all the links in the description for Instagram and her website to learn more about that. And if you're ever visiting Finland, which is a beautiful country, you should go to the area that she's in and definitely book a session with her. So thank you so much for talking to me today, Mari.
yes. Yes.